Here we are. So this is our first live stream post Demers Boxing Live. And we wanted to come on and just kind of do a debrief on basically how everything went.
And this is at the
This is
this is from the Demers Boxing card event that we held in Meadow Lake.
right. Do you have that in manual or is that in auto?
I don't know. What do you mean?
The lens. Because it looks like it's not focused on me. It looks like it's probably focused on something else. Anyways, okay, so we just wanted to do sort of like a debrief and go over everything that went right and everything that went wrong. Because we definitely had some stuff go wrong, which is not, I mean, that's expected on a live stream to anticipate issues. And the issues we had were actually pretty minimal, but there were still, slight issues. So let's talk about how long did it take to set up. So this was a 400 in-person event. Yeah. That's how many people attended live, like in the building itself. So we had to accommodate basically tables set up where everything was. Took us about 2 days to set up. We had to do the lights. Now, of course, we didn't have to do the lights. We wanted to do the lights because the event was actually quite dark, and we tested it beforehand with our cameras, and it would have looked bad. So we decided to get some lights and light it up, and the result was a pretty sweet setup. Let's see if I can find a video for that. So
yeah, I'll talk here in a second.
Yeah. It took about a day to set up all the live stream. Not like a full 8-hour day.
Yeah, no, obviously, it was definitely a full.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we didn't start at like
time.
7 in the morning.
There were some things that changed.
But
where we were originally planning on going, we talked to the event kind of planners, the people who were putting on the event, and they said, yeah, we want to have tables here. Can you guys move somewhere else? So then we had to basically rethink where everything had to go.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just it added a lot of extra time to our setup.
Yeah, we had to figure out, and we had to get different equipment based on now the length of cable runs we had to do, and then our camera positions, like that kind of changed our whole idea based on what the equipment that we had. So that added time, and then, but yeah, it was we set up lights. Did you already talk about that?
Can you not add image capture sources while it's streaming?
I don't know.
It kind of seems like it. Anyways.
So
what was your question?
I just said, did you already talk about the lights?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It was underexposed, so that's why we got lights.
Yeah. So we had lights. We had to set up that, which we wouldn't necessarily do for every event, but we did for this one, and it made it way better than what it would have been if we had not had it for us for the live stream. And then
I'm seeing if I can find it.
But yeah, it was for sure a day. It was for sure a day to set up. And if Lauren gets the pictures here, you'll be able to see. But we had a pretty legit setup for live streaming. It's biggest thing we've ever done so far. And then it took us like basically a day to run that, do all that, get it all checked. And then, I mean, realistically, it probably, for what we did, you could get it down to less than that. But it took us more than a day for sure. For us.
So this is what it basically, by the time we're done, I mean, this is edited. We did some exposure stuff, but basically what it looked like where we had everything kind of just in the center, and then basically allowed us to highlight the ring.
Yeah.
I do have some photos, but for some reason when I share them to the computer, it doesn't.
Yeah, we're trying to get them in, but the computer doesn't. We could try to convert them to a JPEG instead of what they are. Which isn't easy.
So you keep talking, like, see it.
Yeah. So it took us that much time to get it set up, and then obviously during the event, we had 2 guys. So there was actually 4 of us. There was me, Lauren, and then my brother-in-law and Dominic, and then also a friend of ours from church, and I was doing basically the live stream, kind of like OBS side monitoring stuff, and then Lauren was doing photos, and then we had my brother-in-law Dominic. He was actually doing the camera operating, and then also our friend Charles, he was doing the live stream switching. So he was controlling our switcher, so which angle you would see on the live stream. And that took us 4 people, and then which it went pretty well with that. It actually went really well considering my brother-in-law Dominic has only run a camera once at his church one time, and then our friend Charles, he's done some stuff with like live streaming at his church. I think I don't even know all of what he did, but anyways, when we started, it was basically like they came that day, the day that the event was starting. It was going to start that evening. It was Saturday, and it was like Saturday afternoon. We came, ran everybody through what we were going to be doing, kind of trialed and errored it, and then that night we did the live event. So, and it actually went really well. It was rough, a little, like it wasn't perfect at first. It was a little bit rough just because Charles was the one doing the video switching, and he was mostly talking with Dom, so he was the one telling him, communicate. I mean, at first I was, because literally we like figured the things out how they were going as the event was happening, because we were working together in that kind of a setting for the first time that night. So at first it was a little bit rough, but then towards the end everybody was working together quite smoothly. And
I don't know. It's not. Anyway. Yeah, so it was kind of a fly by the seat of our pants.
Which there was a lot of setup. I mean, ideally we would have had more time to like run through that stuff, but it was we were able to get our brother-in-law Dominic.
Are you our viewer?
Yeah, probably. I probably am. We were able to get our brother-in-law Dominic to help with the camera stuff, and then our friend Charles to do the live stream switching, which enabled me to do the monitoring and Lauren to do photos, because that was one of the things that we wanted to do as well as live stream it. We knew, hey, boxers are going to want photos, or the clubs are going to want photos. So if we can do this, that would be super good. And then our brother-in-law Dom was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll help you with the camera stuff. And then he ended up being very good. But ideally, we would have had a scenario where we could have, had somebody that had more experience, and it wouldn't have been like fly by the seat of our pants. But that's the way it ended up happening, and it turned out really good considering all of that.
Are we sure this is going to our YouTube and not Apostle
Yep.
Tyler's?
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, I'm literally watching it right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, so the pictures was a bit of it was a new camera, kind of the lead up to the event. We didn't get as much time to test the camera and kind of go through the settings. I mean, we're used to Sony cameras, but like with anything, a new camera comes out, has new controls, has new menu options. They always seem to shuffle around where stuff's located, which is quite annoying. But, it's kind of, we didn't think it would be that big of a deal. We just didn't have time. We would have loved to spend more time doing it. But so at the night of the event, we're just kind of like scrambling, almost trying to figure out how to use IAM more than Johnny, because Johnny's doing he was doing the live stream on the computer.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a little bit tougher just because I'm trying to take pictures. I'm trying to figure out what the settings are. The focus was all over the place.
If you can,
we got some good.
Can take some time to use your camera before
exactly.
That's the best scenario. In the type of scenario.
And it wasn't that we didn't want to. We just didn't.
No,
we didn't have enough time to go out and just do a lot of testing. And so the biggest thing was the focus, because the focus kept, and it was a focus setting I had that I should have changed, but the focus kept focusing on the ropes.
Yeah, because the ropes were in the foreground,
Yeah.
and they're high contrast because we had
The
it dark
backgrounds were
around
like-
the ring so that the audience, you couldn't see the audience. Basically, the ring was lit up and everything else was dark. And so then the camera, like, the boxers weren't like the largest thing in the frame the way we had that main camera set up. So it was like, you'd see the ropes, the way the one taking the photograph. So then you see these ropes, which are like super high contrast, and then the camera kept picking the ropes.
And it would always be
or the ref.
It would always be when the boxers would engage each other that it seemed like this it would suddenly focus on the ropes. And there was a couple mistakes I was making. Like I kept doing, you know, a half press, so it would refocus. And then whenever I did that, just because I'm used to our other camera and the settings we have, it would choose the highest contrast spot basically, and which was the ropes. So I kept doing that, and so for the first couple rounds, I got photos, but a lot of them were just missed focus.
Yeah.
Or the refs were. I mean, the refs, they're not doing it on purpose, but it seems like every time you change to an angle to get a better view, that the ref like followed his bum cheeks right into the screen.
into the photo.
Yeah, 100%.
We got a lot of
we got a lot of
cheek shots.
A lot of cheek shots. So yeah, it was good though. Things that went well where the angles worked well. The camera guys worked really well together at the start.
Better
at the
than
start,
what I thought.
oh yeah. At first I was like,
honestly, it was like one of those things. Is like we're just gonna have to deal with this
whatever
as the event goes. Whatever it is, and it went.
At the very start, the camera operator and the guy running Charles operating the switcher, they had never worked together really. They didn't even really know each other.
They met each other.
They just met each other that night. And so of course you got the switcher operator looking at what he's seeing and choosing between two different cameras, which is best. And then he sees, Dominic, our brother-in-law, who is just learning the system. He's a little bit shaky. And so he's kind of trying to give instructions on how to do better, so to speak, so he can get a better shot. And at first it seemed a little tense. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out. But then out of nowhere, they just suddenly like started flowing. He would let him know, okay, I'm detaching. And then Charles would say, yeah, okay, you're good. And it was like a breeze after that once they started doing their own thing.
Yeah, once they got an idea for like what, like kind of how things were going and like what they wanted, they just both got on the same page and just like worked together really well.
Yeah, it was really crazy. It was super.
awesome.
It was super good. And actually, Johnny, if you want to talk about some of the mistakes we made, just while I look up this video in terms of like checklists, like what we missed at some pretty obvious stuff at the start that caused us a lot of extra time editing later on. Just want to find some of these video clips. Start with the camera not recording, and then then you got the audio.
So what happened was, we recorded the entire thing on each camera. So each camera was recording for the entire length of the event. And on the one camera, so we had two cameras. We had the one that our brother-in-law Dominic was operating, which was kind of like our main camera. And then we had a second camera that was just a static shot that was a wide angle of just the whole ring, and it didn't move. And so I started recording on that before the event started, just before, because I had to adjust some settings. I started recording, and then I had meant to go and start recording on the other camera that my brother-in-law Dominic was doing, but then I didn't. So, and I just forgot. So then, like, the middle of the first fight, I was like, oh, I never started recording on that. So then I was like, hey, Dom, can you press record on that thing? And Dom was like, I don't even know where the record button is. That's how little he knew. We taught him how to hold the camera, how to move and do all that, but not very much on that camera settings or anything. And then Lauren had to go like once on one of the middle of the fights, like when they're doing their in their corners, and so Lauren pressed record. So obviously that's a big thing, especially if you're recording. Like, if you weren't recording, it wouldn't matter. But we were recording, so having a checklist where, okay, your cameras are on, they're recording. So that we missed the entire match. Only on the one angle. We did have the wide angle for the first fight, but we didn't have that kind of our A-cam shot, which was the one that looked better than the wide angle. We didn't have that first match. Then the next thing was our audio. Yeah, so you can see it here.
What about let's go? In and out. So keep talking.
Yeah, so this is some of the footage.
This was the close.
So this was our main. This is the one that
it might be a little bit.
I forgot to record.
I have to turn that. probably nobody heard what you said because the audio was coming through. Okay, so just start over.
Wait.
And I forgot we're not monitoring the audio on this clip.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just too
So
loud.
it was probably just super loud. So nobody probably
okay.
heard what you said.
Okay, so in case you didn't hear what I said, so this was our wide angle shot right here, which was off to like the right of where our brother-in-law Dominic was, and then
And that
this one
this
we
was us
started recording
it.
right at the beginning. We didn't miss any matches, and then this was our main camera shot. This was one that our brother-in-law Dominic was on, and he was following. He's on the tripod right now, following these guys, and that's our main camera. And so for the first match, I forgot to press record on that. So we missed the first match on this angle. Then on the way we actually had two commentators that were commentating on the video only for the live stream, and then we had their mics coming into Logic Pro, which are then coming into OBS, and I had their monitors on. I had them coming into OBS, and I was monitoring Logic, and are we talking about the? We're talking about the mute thing, or do we? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
No,
that too, yeah.
So, so then what happened? Also, this was
At the very start, we had to figure out what happened, the reason this happened. So one of the commentators was muted, but at the very start of the event, we had to figure out which mic was which because we didn't label them. So we just muted one and got them to talk.
like which commentator was
which
speaking
input.
into which mic, so we could adjust their volumes properly.
And so then, not really thinking, after he figured that out, I just left. I didn't think to unmute the channel. I just thought I didn't even think he's going to do it. That was just that was just like, you're just like, okay, we figured it out.
We figured it out. That's good. Let's move on to the next thing. Because there's a lot of things
so
we were doing.
Then like by the fourth round,
because I kept. So what happened was I
up.
was monitoring, and the one commentator was like totally loud, like good volume or whatever, and then this other girl was super quiet, and I was like, man, this lady's like super soft spoken. So I like kept turning up her mic, and it was like I would hear. I'm like, I think that's a little bit louder. And finally it got to the point where I was like, I don't even remember. It was
you called me over. You're like Lauren, this girl's like super quiet.
Yeah, and then Lauren was like, turn up the monitors, and I was like, I did. Oh yeah, at that point I had like probably, it wasn't all the way up, but like I turned up her mic a lot, like on her actual like preamp or whatever. Yeah, and then so I was like, this thing's like already all the way up, and then in Logic I have it like turned way up, and then so finally I went over at one point and talked to her. I was like, hey, can you just talk a little bit louder and talk closer to your mic, because I have your volume turned up all the way and it's still quiet.
Yeah.
So then finally Lauren comes between one of the matches, and I was like, Lauren, this girl's still super quiet, and then he goes and looks, this channel is still muted.
It's muted.
And I was like, anyways.
I was at the time. I was very annoyed. Thankfully, I think we had the one mic loud enough that
you could hear.
It still sort of picked up the other girl, but the funny part about all of that is that we also weren't recording in Logic.
Yeah.
Which once again was one of those things I just thought was, I didn't really even think about. Like I said, I didn't think about it's like obvious. Okay, you kind of record. I just didn't think about saying make sure you record. So we didn't record any of it in Logic. And then when it came to the live stream, we're used to like YouTube or Restream, where when you stream, they record the stream and they give you the option at the end of it. Do you want to keep the stream or you just want to
you want
delete
to download it?
Yeah.
Something.
And so we didn't really think twice
about that. Which we weren't
that.
streaming to YouTube. We were streaming to our own website.
Our own website.
Where we had like, and we weren't using Restream.
No, we weren't.
We were using
a third party like.
Just because it was a paid to view, that was kind of the best option.
So then we were thinking this would be recorded. So we're like, okay, well, if anything, we got it recorded so we can go back to the stream and at least pull the audio from there, because we didn't have the recorded audio. And then it turns out you had to select a button that said record event before you started the stream, which is something we never really thought about. And so that we didn't record this live stream either.
I know. That's why I started recording it like partway through, because I was going to start originally.
No, I know. I'm just saying we didn't have, because we couldn't even source audio. We couldn't do any of that, which we originally wanted to do.
Yeah, we wanted to have the whole thing recorded, and I mean, we didn't record it because we could have recorded in OBS too. But again, there were some things that we had set up, and it was kind of like, it was sort of like, well, do we need that extra redundancy? Because we had in our head like, oh yeah, we'll be able to pull the live replay from the streaming service you're using. So it's just, and I mean, the other thing is too, like, we were still setting stuff up all the way. Basically, we were still troubleshooting stuff right up to the event. So it's like you're still trying to get things, making sure they're working and making sure all this is happening. So it's like, you know, while you're doing one thing, you're thinking about like the next thing. Like, okay, I got to get this going. So, you know, you kind of have like quite a few things going through your brain.
The one thing that was encouraging, except for like one person, we had one person complain, but everybody said it looked like it looked really amazing, which is
good.
We knew it was going to look good, but it's one of those things that, you know, sometimes people don't appreciate all the work that goes into it just because it looks so simple. So it's like, oh yeah, of course. I mean, it looks good. Good job.
Yeah.
But everybody we've talked to is like, man, it looked super good. We had some problems with the network.
Which is another thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But in terms of like optically and the switching that we had our operators doing, it looked really good. And everybody was like, man, it looked really good. It was like a next level. Like in some cases, some people said, I mean, maybe they're trying to make us feel good, but some people said they've seen, you know, sporting events that didn't have that good a camera work, like professional ones. So in terms of angles, clarity, sharpness, all that stuff,
yeah,
it was really good. And then are we still okay, that's good. So that was that was like quite encouraging to hear people say that even afterwards. It was like, yeah, you guys did like super.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. We didn't even have the live replay when we were done, so we couldn't even go and check it.
Yeah, exactly.
We couldn't like rewatch our own live stream.
You couldn't
to
rewatch
see, like,
your
hey,
own.
how was it? Which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, now we rebuilt the live stream from our recorded footage, but we literally didn't have it.
Yeah, that was the one. You know, we had.
That was the other thing.
We had boxers who said, you know, we want the footage.
Yeah.
And it took us a while to get it to them because originally we would have gave them their cut, just 1080 from the live stream, and it said we'll supply a 4K footage as well, but just for now, this is your cut of the fight. Yeah, but we couldn't do that because we didn't have the live stream, so we had to go back and we had to cut it. So I know we're a long ways into this already, and we haven't given huge amounts of advice, but one thing is it's obvious, but have a checklist. Yeah. And we even had comms, like.
We had comms.
We had comms the whole time with all the operators and me and stuff. So if you have comms, it's easy.
Which you definitely need for an event like that.
Oh yeah.
Or but I mean, it makes it way
do
better.
A checklist, like okay, you know, like Houston does. You know, comms check, audio check, camera record check, camera 2 record check, live stream check, you know, Logic Pro record check, you know, whatever, all that stuff. Like just do.
And like, I mean, because some of the stuff was like simple stuff. Like we should have been recording a program.
Yeah.
That's not like this is like complicated. Like, you know, did we rig up the camera? It's like basic stuff that was forgotten simply because we didn't have a checklist. Which if we had had a checklist, it would have made sure that like that kind of basic stuff, you know, would have been handled.
100%.
Let alone the more like, you know, bigger items that would be. Well, I mean, those were big items. Those would be a big deal usually, but
but I mean, not things
like they weren't complicated.
Not things that
wreck
the live stream,
record
but
it.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's really simple to check on and to like okay, we're sure we're doing this.
Because like that's the thing too. Like some of that stuff, once you start live streaming, you know, there's all kinds of variables, and like you can't necessarily shut it off to reset stuff once you start without having problems, and so like. It's definitely one of those things to have a checklist, which we'll do next time.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll have that. And I mean, now we know, so like in our own, you know, we kind of know, we have a better idea of, hey, what's involved, but then just we'll definitely do is have a checklist of just like, hey, this is going, we're getting audio, everything that we want is unmuted, we're recording our audio, we're recording our program.
Yeah, and it's super simple, and it's one of those things that we had so much stuff going on that we didn't. So make sure you have a checklist to do those things. That's probably, I mean, we could have saved ourselves everything basically if we'd done just a simple checklist.
Yeah, and it would have made it less. It would have made it less, because then like, you know, too, once the event there's so much stuff going. You're like, have I checked everything? Like, am I forgetting something?
Yeah.
And then because there was times where I was like, during the event, I was like, I feel like there's something I'm not doing, because they're like, you know, there's so many things you're having to like
you're not doing.
Oversee. Yeah, exactly. In fact, there was things I wasn't doing.
There was things he wasn't doing.
And
It was a lot of though. It was a lot of fun though.
It was super.
A lot of photos. I took way too many photos.
So we took 16,000 photos.
Now,
roughly.
I took 16,000
Yeah,
photos. Now, of course, I wasn't used to the camera.
640 gigabytes.
And
of
so,
photos.
Yeah,
A lot of trash.
it's a lot. It was
Lot of
it was
trash.
a lot of trash. Way too much.
That's because we had a camera
30,
that
you know,
did 30 frames
30
per second.
frames per second.
we were
It's a
trying
sporting
to-
event, so I was trying to catch as much as I could. I wasn't really used to the camera, so I thought, wow, better to get way too many photos
Overshoot,
than not enough. Because there was 1 or 2 rounds where I just did single actuations, and I didn't get very many photos, and I definitely didn't get very many good photos.
Yeah.
From them. I mean, I didn't get tons and tons of good photos out of the other 16,000, but I definitely got more.
We got more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Good ones out of that.
We used the Sony A7 IV.
Yeah.
We rented it from, shout out to Camera Canada Rentals.
Canada Camera Rentals.
That's what I said, isn't it?
No.
Canada
it's
Camera
Canada
Rentals.
Camera because
Yeah.
they're different. There's
Right.
actually 2 companies.
So we did that. We rented it. We rented a Sony 24 to
Right.
70. The one thing I'll say about that is I thought I would like the 24 to 70 more. And it's a nice lens, but I should have used the 70 to 200 because of the range was a little more. The only thing is it was an f4 because it's just a G series lens, not a G Master.
Yeah,
and
the
the
one
24 to
lens that
70.
we have. Yeah.
Yeah, the one we have. The one that we used and rented was the 24 to 7 G Master. So there was
the 2.8.
f2.8, yeah. And so there was times when I wish I could have punched in more or been farther away from the ropes because the ropes were like always in the way so many times. So in hindsight, if I was to do that event again, I would probably shoot almost every photo that I shot from the stage. So I'm higher, kind of above the ropes. Maybe go closer for the smaller kids because there was 17 bouts, really like from age basically 8 all the way up to, I don't know, I think the oldest was 30 or something. So like some of them were pretty short. I would go close there, but then for the larger, I would have stayed back on top of the stage and then just zoomed in with the 70 to 200. 24 to 70 wasn't quite close enough, but I mean, it's a beautiful lens, but
Yeah, just for
just
this,
not quite
for
what
this
we
event.
needed. Yeah.
For this event, it was.
Which, I mean, this is kind of the first time we've done a sporting event photos, so it was kind of just, we're not sure what works, what doesn't
Yeah, we learned everything
on the fly,
On the
basically.
fly.
The one thing we didn't learn on the fly was like video quality. We knew we've done lots of streaming
Yeah.
to that.
which
But-
is why that turned out really good.
So it was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
we didn't make as much money as we wanted, but there's lots of things like we didn't advertise.
We didn't advertise.
Besides word of mouth, like on Facebook, just talking about it. We didn't do any ads. It was on the radio ads, but I mean, most people aren't going to go to, if they hear it on the radio, they're probably local, so they're going to go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's definitely more we could have done in that route, but I mean, which we will. I mean, depending on the type of event,
Mhm.
but like on the next one, say we'll probably do more of that because there's definitely opportunity there.
Yeah.
But now we have this under our belt, so it's more. You can do it,
Yeah.
But there are this is definitely so what we did was we streamed. Sorry, we re-recorded everything and did everything in 4K 60.
Yeah.
And then on our actual live stream, like our switcher, we had that going. We had the live stream in 1080p 60 because our switcher can't actually do 4K 60. It can intake
it can receive it, yeah,
but it can't output that. And then besides that, there's other stuff like with 4K 60, you have bandwidth stuff. You got to resize that video before.
So I never meant it to go live. That was a mistake.
So then,
How come it transitions automatically? Continue.
so then, anyways, so we had everything in 1080 60, which we kind of were a little uncertain. Like we wanted to do 1080p 60, but we're like, well, maybe we should do 1080p 30 because the bandwidth requirements are different. Like the way we're doing this streaming, we're uploading to a third-party service, and then so this is something to think about if you're doing a live stream event and you want to do pay-per-view. You can't necessarily do it to YouTube. You can do it to YouTube and do like an unlisted video and then just share it, but then everybody can share your YouTube video once they get it, which I mean, you may or may not care about. But if you want it to be, where only the people that buy it can have access to the video, then you have to use some kind of service that can provide that. So what we did was we had a third-party streaming service that took our video from OBS, and then we basically used their web player, like embedded their web player into our website. And then basically people went to our website, bought access to the live stream, and then they'd get a code, and then they could watch the video.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's something that you have to figure out, like the bandwidth, because like YouTube, you just start streaming to YouTube. They handle all the data, but when you're uploading to YouTube, there's actually like, you're uploading all this data, and YouTube pays for it. But if you're doing a third-party service, you have to pay for it. And then however many people view it, every time somebody views it, it's like them downloading that video. So then you have to pay for the amount of data that is used when people view it. So
Did you start recording this?
Yeah, I did.
When did you do that?
A while ago.
Oh, I didn't notice.
So
praise the Lord.
Anyways, that's just something to consider. Like that's a whole nother thing that we had to figure out too, and especially with doing it because we were doing pay-per-view, so like how people pay it and how we keep it like, not weird, and like, hey, you e-transfer us and we'll give you, because we wanted this to
we want it to be as legit as possible.
Legit and like seamless. Like, hey, this is what you would do if you were going to watch any professional boxing live stream, and simple. You go to our website, there's the product, you buy the access, and then you can see the video player. Not like you have to go to like 3 links and then get, go through a portal that goes to here and then to this thing. We wanted to keep it as seamless as possible.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that part went very well considering it was our first time, I think. And there's stuff that we'll do better next time, even with that. But anyways, yeah, so that's bandwidth stuff is a whole thing as well that you have to consider if you're gonna do live streaming stuff. Yeah. Like and what service? Which if you're gonna do that, you could ask us some questions and we would gladly.
Yeah, we're not like super quick on comments on YouTube just because. Not because we don't want to. It's just
because we have so many followers.
Yeah,
commenting.
exactly.
I mean, how do we get?
Oh yeah, like and follow. We love to live stream. Subscribe, send money. So I mean, we will get back to you, but sometimes we don't get back for a while, just simply because we don't check it that often, or it's one of those things that you just miss because you're doing other stuff. So if you do have questions, ask us, and we'll try and at least send you resources, point you in the best direction, because there's nothing worse than a like 600-page explanation on the comments where it's like, oh, this is what I did. It's like, just it's this long. You're like, I just wanted like, could you tell me quick or point me to a resource, and then I can in my own time not have to come back to this YouTube video all the time. Yeah. So if you do have questions, just ask, and we'll do our best.
ChatGPT is also a really great resource.
Yeah, Johnny.
Especially.
That's all Johnny uses.
This is a plug. Yeah, it's basically all I use. Yeah. But legit though, it'll help you narrow your search field down a lot. Like just troubleshooting stuff, it'll save you a lot 100%. Of time. Especially with like figuring out the live stream service stuff. Like, okay, what's the reality? Like, what realistically are we gonna have to pay if we have? And, like just questions you can ask, and that will really help you like cull through all that.
Which I would say the one thing is
you have to be careful.
We over kind of thought the streaming in terms of data rates. Now, of course, we didn't get as many people as we were maybe thinking we might. So there's that degree of it, but
part of that though, which my brother doesn't understand. Just kidding. No, but part of that though was that like for me, because I was the one that, I mean, we were both doing it, but I was the one that was kind of looking into a lot, was that I wanted to be prepared. Like, okay, if 500 people start streaming, we want them to suddenly to crash, or like it shut down the live stream, and suddenly like, okay, middle of event, this thing's professional, people are live streaming, and all this, they paid for it, and suddenly it's like done. Yeah. So it was like, I wanted to be prepared, like, hey, if 500 people start watching this thing at once, do we have the ability to scale to that? Like, I didn't want to like, oh, well, only 24 people are going to watch probably, so let's just aim for that. I wanted, if only 24 people watch, then it'll work. And if 500 people suddenly come on, that it's still going to work. So now, I mean, that's the direction I went with it. You could go the direction like, hey, this is the bandwidth we're going to be able to do. We're going to limit this thing to 40 people. And then, I mean, as a paid event, maybe you could leverage that.
Yeah, you could
be like, hey,
there's
limited time,
20 spots left.
Limited spots available. But we
were
to make we were
trying to make it as available to people because we didn't know.
We didn't. This was our first event.
It's our first like live paid event that we've done. And that's another thing is we use Starlink to stream it because originally we were told the venue we were at didn't have internet, which it did end up having.
It
internet.
looked like it did.
So we ended up spending
Lots
a fair amount of money to get Starlink. Which I got to cancel that contract before it renews, and I don't use it for another month. Anyways, so we got Starlink saying, okay, we'll do this because our whole idea is we want to do live streaming, and sometimes it might be somewhere remote, so we might as well get the equipment. And it actually worked pretty flawlessly. We did have some stuttering and jittering in our live stream, but according to Starlink, it was working fine. So we think that maybe one of our network devices was causing the issue, because it would just drop, not all the way. It wouldn't tank right out, but it would just slow down, and everything was brand new. Like our Ethernet switch was brand new. Our Ethernet cables were brand new. They were 100-foot cables?
They were 100-footer.
Which originally we got that long of a cable because where we were originally going to shoot from, where the table was going to be, was a lot farther away. So then by the time we ended up getting moved, because they needed to put tables where we were,
we got a lot closer.
We were, like 35, 40 feet closer than we originally were. And we didn't have to go up and over like we were going to have to do originally, so that, it wasn't in people's eyesight, so they didn't trip on it on the ground. So we think maybe it was the cable or the Ethernet switch.
This is our
yeah, if anybody knows.
You know how I was holding it?
Yeah, no, I'm going to hold it like here. If anybody knows. If anybody knows if these are trash for like energy management and cause like cycling, let us know, because we're not the hugest network guys. We just kind of got something that would work.
Which that was like a thing that we overlooked, which again, that wasn't like the top, usually you're just thinking like, hey, I got to make sure that I have a good connection and that should work. But this is what because we had 2 computers, which we didn't end up needing a second one.
We overplanned with the computers.
But we did have 2 computers, and we had to, so then we had to run our internet connection into one of these so that we could then split it and go to both computers. And anyways,
we don't know what we think it was in one of the boxes.
I've read that like if these are like cheap ones, they'll have like a power saving thing, and they can basically throttle your connection.
Yeah.
And on our live stream, we had like a stutter, and it seemed to be relatively consistent. Like it would be really good for a bit, like 30 seconds, and then suddenly it would stutter. Like it would like, someone was punching, and then it would miss. It would be like before the punch and then after the punch instead of like, and it would skip for a second.
Yeah, which I could understand is frustrating for anybody who watched.
Yeah, anybody who watched.
Most people didn't complain about that. They said it was a little annoying, but they said it was, not the biggest deal, which going forward will be a lot better. But
so make sure, like, if you're doing something like that,
and we did,
we did
test. We did do testing with the Starlink for live streaming, and we didn't have any of that issue. It's only
but we were directly
to
Starlink into our.
Whereas this was added on afterwards.
Which like. Some of the stuff, like, literally a couple days before, we're like, let's go grab an Ethernet cable that we need for this
because we never thought about it.
The store in town will have it. And then we went there, and they didn't have it. And then, so we actually had to drive to the city a couple hours away to get one. And some other stuff that we needed to get. Plus, we got Popeyes while we're there, so nothing wrong with that.
We got some weight while we're there.
We got some weight. And, but it's definitely worth it to get at least a decent one. And you don't have to spend tons of money, but you should spend enough money to make sure that you get the right one of these.
Now we don't know. We don't know if this was the issue or the cables, but if anybody knows,
the cable we got from like
or experience. Don't say where we got it from.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say where.
If you have experience with that happening and you know what it was, let us know, because we would love to not have that problem.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was Starlink said the transfer, like the connection to the satellite, was perfect. Didn't say there was any issues, but then on OBS it kept showing it dropping, and we had people saying, it's been dropping out randomly. So thankfully we never lost the stream. It just would stutter.
Yeah, and that was probably the biggest, like, aside from forgetting to record the audio and stuff, but that was like that was probably the biggest.
Forgetting to record the audio cost us, and the live stream literally cost us like a week and a half of extra work. By the time you get through all the footage and you cut it, probably.
Well, yeah.
Now, of course, you're learning how to.
We were already cutting.
You're learning how to cut footage. It would be way faster now because we have a system.
We did have to cut through that footage anyway.
Yeah, but it would have been. You could have literally went back and just referenced it.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we're gonna go so we're not on here too long. But what we do have here is we're gonna showcase a. I don't. Which one was the? We're gonna showcase a video that's not done, but just some of the footage, and we hope you guys enjoy it. We're gonna have to resize it on the fly. How can you do that? Because it won't. Like if I go like this, if I go here. What?
You got it. You have to transition it for it to play. Just go.
No, there's nothing there. That's why. There's no photo. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely making sure like you're networking, that stuff you trial and error though is a must for sure, especially if you're gonna do a live stream event.
Well, see, I couldn't do that before. It wouldn't let me do that.
It's definitely a mucho importante.
Mucho importante. Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so this is where's Media Source 3? Will it be Media Source 2?
No, it won't go until it goes live.
I know that, but I'm saying
You turn it up once it goes live. That's what you're looking at right now, isn't it?
okay. Anyway, so enjoy this video. This is a quick promo that's not done, but we just thought we'll showcase some of the footage, some of the hits. Enjoy this.
You're gonna have to watch that once it goes live though to see if it goes super.
Yeah, if there's no audio, I'm sorry. We'll figure it out. But yeah, let's try it. Oh, look at that. Oh, you know why? It's because in properties. That's why. Right. So you go like this.
You gotta replay it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. That's all we got. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. This was kind of just talking about some of the issues we had. It was a lot of fun. 100% worth it.
Yeah.
But a big learning curve.
Yeah, it was a big learning curve, but it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess we'll see you guys
At some point.
at some point. And we'll see you later.